Hello, everyone watching at home. Welcome to Adelaide Eternal. I'm Sarven McLinton, and co-hosting with me is Drew Carter.
Hi everyone.
So we are doing the coverage of the finals of the Toowoomba online Discord webcam tournament. I think this is their fourth event. So thank you to the Toowoomba crew for organising all of that. And we've got some footage here from the finals with Adrian, Preston on the left and Mulch, so Luke Mulcahy on the right. Now, I don't know what's going on the left-hand screen, but we'll find out soon enough. We'll look at the left-hand screen's deck list, though, in a second. If you do want to see Mulch's deck list, go check out the previous video, which is the semi-finals. We talk about that one there. Here, Adrian is on a very, very similar list. Similar not so much in the specific card choices, but similar in that it is an artifact-themed deck. So something that these two decks are trying to do is leverage colourless cards, and it's really, really good to be able to play Mishra's Workshop, City of Traders, Ancient Tomb, these types of effects to just vault out a colourless threat, not to worry about your colourless requirements. But this deck is actually has more colour requirements than Mulch's deck. He's got things like Sigarda's Aid for equipment, with this little equipment-based kind of mid-range sub-theme. And has also got some blue for things like the Antiquities War and Dance of the Manse or Dance of the Manse, depending on which part of the country you come from. So what are your observations on the list?
Yeah, it's got Ethereum Sculptor and Psi Master Thopterist. There's also blue cards. And it's got a lot of white cards and Stoneforge Mystic and 1-drops. I think he commented later that the white 1-drops were a little hard to get on turn one just because of the mana base, but he's obviously done very well. He's made to the final, and it's amazing to see two artifact kind of aggro lists clashing head to head in the final. So I think that because the tournament before this was A. Eldrazi, versus Mystic Forge, Mystic Vault by Aaron, and now it's two artifact aggro. So a lot of artifacts up top. So if you're going to
literally
online
two
tournaments,
events, just
bear that in mind.
They're just the finals have all been artifact-based decks, and I know people are always saying how artifacts are dead, Time Vault is dead, all this kind of stuff, and this just completely demonstrates that you can do very, very well and consistently well with artifact-themed decks. So we're in a shambling suit mirror.
Yep, and there's a lot of equipment in this list as well.
That's a mirror breaker for sure.
Yeah. Jitte,
being able to
plating,
make your things bigger.
Grafted War Gear, Sword of Body and Mind, Sword of Light and Shadow, Sword of Fire and Ice. Was that 5 or 6 that I said? I don't know. Skull Clamp.
It's basically all the swords.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them there. That's the most swords you have. Is that 3 or 2?
3 swords.
Yeah, 3. 3 swords is the most swords I have literally ever seen in a deck in Highlander. I don't think I've ever seen more than 2.
Yeah.
I've seen Sophie in the main and Sword of Fire and Ice in the side. Sort of Feast and Famine in the side. That's the most I've seen.
Yeah.
in dedicated equipment based.
Battlestation equipment as well. So it's probably like 8.
Yeah, this is going to be so good. I think the equipment has the edge. So we go down to the match and see how it pans out.
Ooh.
I feel like in this matchup, both of the decks are playing very, very similar threats, similar sized threats, and the deck that has the ability to make the threats much larger has the edge. All right, Tundra into Wall of Glare.
That's Toolcraft Exemplar.
I don't know what that card is. Tell me what that is.
He's a weenie with artifact payoff. So that's
okay.
Expedition map. Toolcraft Exemplar was really strong in standard at the time.
Right, I clearly didn't play
Kaladesh
that.
And that.
Is that Mishra's Workshop? Wow, Mishra's Workshop here is going to be huge. Being on the play and having Mishra's Workshop and having your Toolcraft Exemplar already out. This is going to be huge.
So the Toolcraft Exemplar is a 1/1, but if you have an artifact, then on your turn he's a 3/2 for 3/2, and if you have 3 artifacts, he's a 3/2 first strike.
Oh, okay. So it's just a beta.
Yeah,
strong 1-drop. Another card came out that is obviously an artifact and colorless only because the glare is being affected.
Ethereum Oh, that's cranial plating, and it's the scourge thing. It's like a little flyer or something.
Oh, yep. Vault Scourge.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks kind of blue. It's actually a black card.
Like, yeah.
Nice.
So
But you can play it with Phyrexian Life, so therefore Mishra's Workshop plays it.
He's got 2 weenies and like a big equipment. So what's that giving now? It's +2, is it? Yeah, okay.
So it'll be +2, which is, it's going to get bigger. That's for sure.
Yeah. If he plays an artifact next turn, he'll be crashing in for like 7 damage.
Wow.
And Mulch.
There was a time when we played Fiery Confluence religiously, never cut it, and then it got moved to the side, and then now people were starting to not play the card at all, and I'm thinking, I think based on the last 2 major events, people should be thinking about making sure that Fiery Confluence is in your list somewhere.
Yeah, and definitely Colligan's Command is great if you can play it. But those color combinations being a little less play.
Yeah, so we've got Great Furnace and Vault. Wow, Mulch is doing nothing.
He's just going to activate his expedition map.
Oh, that doesn't look good. But actually, if the expedition map is finding Tolaran Academy, next turn could be huge.
Yeah, but here's a sword. And he can
Sword of Body and Mind will deck very quickly.
Equipping cranial plating, just giving +3, I think. So that's 7 damage.
Yeah, that's interesting. The reason for not equipping Sword of Body and Mind, must be a reason, because there's 1 mana up. You know, keeping 1 mana up there might be a relevant play there, because otherwise, I think if you're not going to use that mana, then I would equip Sword of Body and Mind and go Milieu for 10, make a wolf. Next turn, Milieu for 10 again, make a wolf, and it just vaults you ahead so far.
Yeah,
but obviously that I think that 1 mana has a reason. You know, there's something in hand, Source of Plowshares, or
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's got.
These aren't cards that are being run. I don't think. I didn't look in detail at the list, but it could easily. Or does Toolcraft Exemplar doesn't have some kind of activated ability?
No.
Does it?
No, Swords is in the sideboard, I think. I can't see any instant speed interaction.
Okay. Well, that's interesting, because I think that's an interesting choice, because obviously the cranial plating beats for more lifelink. I think Vault Scourge has lifelink, right?
Okay.
So was the plan to attack for an additional point to change the life race, perhaps?
Yeah, I think you're
Maybe
right.
1 point changes the race. Yeah, that's possible. But I really like Sword of Body and Mind to just make tokens, and
if you're getting the trigger,
unless
good.
And also there's this random thing where you like mill 10 cards and Tolaran Academy's in them. Just 1 in 5 chance, and you just hit the thing that your opponent was going to search for. All right, Scrabbling Claws, Phyrexian Furnace. This is like your board, Drew.
This is like my deck, which dies to aggro. Yeah.
So artifact, tap for 4 mana with the Tolaran Academy. That's huge.
Antiquities War would be good for Mulch, but he doesn't play it. He can't because of his companion.
Yeah, I see.
He's just cycling these things.
Funny. So Scrabbling Claws had to target a card in the graveyard. So had to use them to make mana, and then use the mana to crack them to draw cards, and then play a really, really kind of embarrassing Sorcerer's Spyglass.
Oh, that shuts off the equipment. Look at his hand. He's got Batterskull and another sword in his hand. It's mono swords.
Watch is dead.
What do you name?
This is over.
You can just play Batterskull next turn, or just play the sword and equip it. Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Yep.
And that's like
game over.
And it's like 9 damage. You just scoop.
Yeah,
that was lethal right then.
Yeah, but Mulch was just playing Sorcerer's Spyglass to just look. I just want to see what you got. I'm definitely dying, but I will see first.
Yeah, super aggressive. He had the 1-drop. He had the Mishra's Workshop just powering out the artifacts and the equipment and just smashing in without. And Mulch had a slow disruptive hand, which just whiffed
on the draw.
Yeah.
And so like normally when you look at equipment, so it's not that the equipment won the game. In reality, those equipment could have been a 2-mana 2/2, a 5-mana 5/5. Completely irrelevant. It was just about the pace of the game. And Adrian set the pace of the game. Said, "I am the aggressor. I'm the beatdown. I'm going to deploy my threats. I'm going to attack you. I'm going to finish the game before you can set up." In reality, those kind of situations when you've got got equipment are vulnerable because your opponent in a traditional control deck or mid-range deck, they just lightning bolt the thing that you're equipping. You lose all that tempo. You lose your threat. You don't have enough threats to equip onto, and it's a really, really big problem. And you saw that Adrian kind of flooded with equipment, and it played out perfectly in terms of just beat down, win the game. But it's a fragile strategy where you play 9 equipment and then they lightning bolt your thing. Mm-hmm. But I think that the equipment will probably play very interestingly in this next game because on the draw he's not going to have the tempo, so he'll be behind, and equipping is really, really, really bad on the draw. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But he'll have again the play in the final one, which I think he'll be advantaged again. Yeah. Shall we have a look at the next game?
There's Swords to Plowshares, Mystic Forge, Proxy and Revoker. Maybe those cards will come in, but Thor Not Seer if he wants another threat.
This is a grind match. They're just not going to fiddle around with Sorcerer's Spyglasses. They're just going to go, I need creatures. Yeah. I need threats. I need to generate more value with Mystic Forge. That's how this game is won. Between these two, you don't have to worry about a combo.
Mulch will bring in his Wormcoil engine.
Wormcoil would be beautiful here.
Got Maze of Ith. That's probably pretty good with equipment.
Oh yeah. I think equipment is. I think Maze of Ith is really strong in this matchup. Really strong. The removal spell that keeps on removing. Right, just you equip something. Okay, you got to spread your equipment out and. I'll just whichever one it's going to be the best one. I'm going to answer that.
Yeah, I've been toying with it against prowess kind of deck. Just shut down the protect the queen kind of strategies.
Yeah, Maze of Ith is the absolute literal nightmare for protect the queen. Just it is terrible. So this is an Engineered Explosives opener and then a
Ginger Brute.
Spire of Industry Ginger Brute. Wow, I think. Playing budget standard right now. This is trippy.
He can get the Ginger Brute, but he's still already lost the 1 damage. Here again, is the lowly snake. It's only a 2/2 now, but he can block. Oh no, but Ginger Brute can make himself unblockable, can't he?
Yeah, that's right. So the plan for Adrian is, you put some equipment on it and then you just make it unblockable. It's huge. It can be unblockable for anything that doesn't have haste. So Questing Beast can block it. That's your general go-to beast creature, right?
Ethereum
Sculptor.
Into Jitte.
Nice.
Good tempo.
Jitte is going to dominate this game if it's not answered. This is the window for a Sorcerer's Spyglass to name it before it can equip. But I don't think Sorcerer's Spyglass is in.
Yeah,
not after post-board.
You saw that much equipment, I'd keep it. But Adrian's got two free mana off because he got 1 extra mana off the Ancient Tomb and 1 extra mana off the Ethereum Sculptor. So that was a big turn.
Yeah, he's switched the play draw, right? Like that 2 mana vaulting forward in 2 mana is like you've just gone on the play now.
Yeah, so
a pass here is suspicious, right? Maybe he didn't have a land to deploy something, but he's probably going to be cracking that Engineered Explosives, right? So don't equip the Ginger Brute. He's saying you must equip your Ethereum Sculptor if you want to deal damage with your Jitte.
He's more vaulting forward in mana with
City of Traders. Wow. City of Traders, Ancient Tomb, and Ethereum Sculptor. That is a lot of mana. That's sort of Fire and Ice? Yeah. So I think he has to equip the Ethereum Sculptor, and it's huge here because the Sculptor is now big enough that the reach XX creature can't block it. Snake, Wormcoil, No,
Stone
not
Coil
Monocoil, Stone
Serpent.
Coil.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that flex. Attack with a ginger brute.
Oh, yeah.
That was I mean, on the scale of engineered explosives from best to worst, I'd say that's probably quite close to the worst one.
Yeah.
Right?
Getting
Destroy
the
the
brute.
standard budget deck common.
Yeah, for 3
Destroy
mana.
it. Destroy that. Don't want to see that.
He chumped with his Stone Coil Serpent just to deny the trigger off the Sword of Fire. I suppose it was going to die then if it didn't jump because the trigger would have killed it.
Yeah, it would have just been pinged. So that's Mishra's Workshop into Sundroppler. Sundroppler is respectable. Ooh, this is the Sunburst creature, Metalcraft. Not metal. It's not Sunburst. It's got Metalcraft and it has protection from
All coloured
all
spells.
colors.
All colours.
Yeah, all colors. If you have Metalcraft, and with the Sundroppler, he has Metalcraft. So this was nice. I like that. Chump with a stone coil. Don't let you trigger. Now play my creature that essentially says you can't trigger your Sophie. Sort of fire and ice.
Yeah, I mean, it's lucky that creature's a blue creature rather than just a colourless creature.
Absolutely.
That's Signal Pest, I think.
Signal Pest. Yep.
Yeah.
So at some point, yeah, he's like, I guess I attack with this. So obviously going to get blocked. You could make him check. Make sure they do it. So Signal Pest has got this weird battle cry ability. It's a 0/1, and when it attacks, all of your attacking creatures get +1/+0. Which is kind of strange, but it does a lot of work on go wide strategies. A lot of work.
Adrian's also played Mox Opal as well, just for more mana. So he's got 7 mana.
It's a lot of mana. So this is second to last card in hand, I think, because there's one card over there. So this is your favorite. You love this card.
He's hanging back. Yeah.
Hanging back with the hanging back walker. Yeah. It's cool. I've seen this just keep ticking up, tick up, and it becomes it? It just gets all the Thopters land and it's on its back, and then they all amass and they fly out or something when he dies. The flavor.
I mean, Adrian's got. He's got colourless creatures to attack with.
This is where the game will shift. Like, it was already in his favour, and then the Metalcraft protection from all the colours thing helped a lot. But the 2 colourless threats is, I mean, that's going to be pretty much game over unless Mulch has some kind of way to break this board up.
Must have a few cards in hand.
Yeah, he's definitely got lots of cards in hand. Just hasn't got the right answers. Right?
Doesn't have many answers in his deck because of the nature of being just all artifacts. He's got needle effects and graveyard disruption, but he's got Triskelion, I suppose, to provide interaction against creatures, but that's not going to be good enough.
Because the Hangerback Walker making the tokens is just, like we kill it and then there's always going to be a token that's going to put a Sophie on it or an Immersile's Jitter. As soon as the Jitter gets counters, it's going to immediately kill the Metalcraft creature because it's a 2/2 protection from all the colours. Well, that's great, but Immersile's Jitter deals with that, so...
I think that's the Recombiner.
It's the Modular 2.
Must be the other one. It's a scrappy.
Scrappy
out something.
Whatever it is, doubtful to have an impact on this board. All right. It's probably going to be a situation of, just... Because I think the Battlecry creature actually has some ability where it can't be blocked except by creatures with reach or something. I'm not sure. I have no idea.
Really? I think
Maybe
it
it
can be
doesn't.
blocked. I think that's a trawler. So when it goes to the graveyard, It's got a triggered ability where you can get back to your hand an artifact with CMC that's less, like 2 or less.
Oh, I see. Cool. Yeah. But does it have modular? Because making the protection from all colors creature is pretty cool. Oh, returning engineered explosives here is really cool.
Just a 3-2.
This could be interesting. Unfortunately, Sophie is a 3 and Jite is a 2. So it's going to be very, very hard to break this up. You can't even name 2 because the Hangerback Walker... Wait, Hangerback Walker is 0. Okay. So he's got 0, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3. It's going to be very, very hard to... even with a pinpoint engineered explosive, it's going to be very hard to disrupt that. Ooh, Batterskull.
Yeah, it's just curving out.
Equipment travel. Yeah, equipment travel is going to be a nightmare. And just activate the Hangerback Walker. Build up the Thopters.
Yeah, I think you start attacking when it's a 3-3 or a 4-4 at some point.
Oh, yeah. That seems like a respectable threat.
Yeah.
The protections from Sophie largely irrelevant, but there's what is the answer to this board? Again, Fire Confluence, or if in doubt, always come back to Fire Confluence. Okay, Fire Confluence, destroy this artifact, 1 damage to all creatures, actually 2 damage, or whatever it might be. Destroy these 3 artifacts. But this is the downside of the Umori build, right? As the Umori build, sure, you're going to have the ability to just late game play a 4-5, but you don't have access to very, very good sideboard spells, Well, I mean, you might. You just don't use the Umori and you just sideboard in some spells. That could be a strategy.
Maybe Bifrost. People need to play Bifrost.
Bifrost is a beating.
Yeah.
Just seeing the last finals, this finals, all artifacts, Bifrost for 5.
Well, Subterranean Tremors sees play and that can kill everything.
And a Triskelion? Shield Sphere?
No, that's Shield Sphere.
Shield Sphere. That's bad.
And I think at this point, Adrian was worried about, he must have some crazy infinite combo. Like he was starting to
combo.
And I think Luke said, you give me too much credit or something like that.
Yeah, just playing it as a wall that is an artifact that turns on the academy.
Yeah, that blows my mind. Playing main deck Pithing Needle and Shields
in the sideboard.
I guess it blows my mind. Yeah. But he made the finals. I didn't. So
yeah, exactly. Like something's working. That's the thing. Like something's working there. It might look like it's getting trounced here, but in the last match, people will probably see how polarized it was. He was just absolutely destroying
that land. Instead of taking damage, it just gets a -1 counter on it.
Right.
The wall, so it can block big things.
And it's a 0-7 or something. 0-6. So it can block 6 times.
Yeah, block huge things 6 times. So that's pretty good, really.
Yeah, I see why I put it in there, right?
It's kind of like another Maze of Ith.
Yeah, Maze of Ith. You block some big creatures 6 times by change the race.
But how is he winning if he's having to Maze of Ith huge things? Like you can't go around it. Like I don't know.
Good point. Good point. I mean, there's protection from colors. There's a threat. There's some large creatures with vigilance like Batterskull. I don't know.
Yeah, you could wait. He could just hang around, survive until he gets like a worm coil equipped with a Batterskull or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a plan. That's the dream scenario for Mulch here because he's right now in the nightmare scenario.
We got back the snake from the graveyard from that trawler thing, replayed it as a 2-2.
As a 2-2. Yeah. 2-2 protection from multicolor doesn't do much against the Jite.
Yeah, so he's replayed the engine explosives on 2 now. He must have got the engine. He must have got the EE back. No, so that was last game. He just had the EE. Just played it for 2. So that kills Jite, Ethereum Sculptor. Is that all? That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Difficult choice.
It's rough. Like the mana costs are just so spread out for Adrian. Makes EE look lackluster, even though EE can be leveraged in the right situation to be an absolute blowout, one-sided blowout.
Yeah, it can be a really good card to come back from behind, but it's always really rough tempo. And when you're facing down multiple different threats, like this is why counterbalance is a bit iffy in Highlander as well, because people just play all up the curve, from 1 to 5 or 1 to 8 or whatever, depending on the deck. Although, you saw with Aaron's deck, it was 1 through 3. It's good there. So what more punishment have we got on Adrian's side here?
Yes. Is that Porcelain Legionnaire?
It's in his deck, so could be.
Oh, it must be Porcelain Legionnaire. That's cube card there, right there. Nice. It's great seeing some of these cards just in action because you don't get the opportunity to see these cards until you start playing Highlander. You play Highlander and you just see these bizarre cards and you go,
that's pretty good.
I guess that's okay. And it turns out to be very, very good, right?
Yeah, especially with equipment. It just smashes in. First 3/1 first strike. It's really good.
And it's white, but it can be played off Mishra's Workshop, no problem.
Yeah, I'm just going to pay some life for the Phyrexian mana. So he's popping the EE.
All right, so the Jitter is destroyed. The Master, the Ethereum character over there is destroyed. Sun Droplet gets destroyed?
Ooh,
no,
yeah,
doesn't it?
Does. Oh, maybe he didn't use his welding jars yet. That should be destroyed. That was an error.
I think that's destroyed. I think he's dead, but it's probably moot. Shield Sphere, what champion?
He's on 19 life.
Yeah, the Sun Droplet may be doing work.
Yeah.
Look at this
Hold down the
Shield
Sphere. Stopping the triggers.
0-6, OP.
I think Adrian's on a lot of life though, from Battle Skull.
Oh yeah, that Battle Skull was just absolutely swinging the game dramatically in his favour.
Mulch is down to 8. That was a big swing.
Mulch is down to 8. Wow.
Something like that.
All right. We'll assume that welding jar was regenerating the Sun Droplet for the purpose of this academic continuation of the game.
Mind Lock Orb.
Mind Lock Orb is it gives you hexproof. It's like for against curses in that set.
No, that's Witchbane Orb.
Cursed. That's Witchbane Orb. Oh, Mind Lock Orb.
Mind Lock Orb is no one can search libraries.
Shuffling?
No shuffling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yep.
Is that all it does?
That's all it does.
Wow.
It's powerful effect.
Yeah, I guess that's like you compare even Mind Center and Mind Lock Orb and you go, I see. Artifacts are taxed extra mana for these effects because Mishra's Workshop exists, Yeah.
And artifacts aren't meant to have like anti-combo stuff. But it's a blue card. It's hard to cast. But yeah, so Mulch has got Wormcoil, which is probably one of the best cards you could hope for, but it's come very late into the party. Yeah,
when that Signal Pest is... So does Signal Pest have some kind of ability? Like, only creatures with reach can block it or something? Can only be blocked by creatures with reach and flying?
I think it's just Battle Cry.
All right, just Battle Cry. Okay. Well, he's soldiering on. He's just Battle Crying up and... Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. It can't be blocked except by creatures with flying or reach. You're right.
Nice. I thought I knew that one. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure the fact that
came over.
Adrian is scooping his cards up and Mulch isn't, I'm going to assume that wasn't a concession from a commanding position. I'm going to assume he very, very much won that game quite convincingly.
The Signal Pest is pretty good if it can only be blocked by flying or reach. That's cool.
Yeah. That's why in my mind I'm like, it's got some kind of unblockable type evasion that's not flying.
It leaps from tree to tree. The flavor text tells me.
Makes sense.
That's
so
how
he
it
can
works.
fly, but he can only leap from tree to tree, and therefore can only be intercepted by said creatures.
Yeah. Or tree folk. What was that old 3/5 tree folk things? He got reach or something? I don't know.
It looks like he should, but his nose is like 5 and a 3/5. Iron Brute tree folk.
Yeah.
Looks like it's reach.
Or giant spider. You need giant spider for that, don't you?
Giant spider OP in so many sets.
Adrian's just won and just like, I'm out. See ya. Thank you.
That's the equivalent of the mic drop in off into the distance. Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining us for the coverage of Toowoomba's online tournament. We're Adelaide Eternal. Stick around if you want to watch any other content and explore our channel.
All right, thank you. Bye.